Okay, so I've got my shirt here. We're going to replace this middle button that I cut off, and I'm going to use black thread, so we want to put it there. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to look at the current button, and you're going to say, okay, does it go across? Because buttons either go two ways. Either there's four buttons in here, and these buttons that they have, put it in the palm of my hand, see if you can see it better. You can see there's four holes, and you're either going to go from this hole to this hole, and then this hole, the upper right, to the lower left. So you'll be in a diagonal pattern, buttons, or some will go horizontal between the top two buttons. So I'll go from the upper right to the upper left, or the bottom right to the bottom left. You'll see when you look at the button as it's on. When you look at this one, this is kind of a weak, really poorly done cross pattern. You can see the X in it if you really look close, but at the end of the day, no one's gonna, if anybody's getting that close, they're probably not checking out your buttons. Where it matters more if you're on if you have a really nice dress shirt. But again, if you have a really nice dress shirt, you're probably gonna have a tie on, so it's gonna cover it. So we're simply gonna take a piece of thread. We're gonna use black for demonstration purposes, and we're gonna thread the needle. I always wet the end. I've got poor eyesight, but as they say, you thread the eye of the needle. And so it's got a little eye on it, just like a little loop. And you're simply gonna stick that thread through. And then you're gonna pull it until you get to the other end of the thread. And so we're gonna take that in, and they don't have to totally match up because we can cut that end off if they don't match up. But you simply take the end here. It's called the tag end if you're fly fishing. Once again, a transferable skill. And we're gonna flip this and go behind it, or you can do what's called an overhand knot, which basically means if you had a rope, you'd take it and go over your hand, but you're simply just gonna go over the top twice. So I'm coming over the top of this, and I'm gonna go through the hole twice. Same way with the surgeon knot, you flip it here, okay? And then you're just gonna, I've got an X, and then you're simply gonna go through the knot twice. That's a surgeon knot, but we'll just do the overhand. So we go over the top, and then we come through it. And you can just tie two of them, but I just loop it through the tag in through the loop twice. All right. Then you cinch that baby down. You're making a knot, and you don't have to, but you're just making a knot. When you pull through the shirt, it's gonna have something to shore up through that hole. All right. So now we're gonna take where the previous button was, and you can see where the stitching was right here. All those stitch holes. And we're simply gonna turn it over to the back, and we're gonna take our needle and we're gonna go right through the center of all that chaos. Okay? So now we're coming through the front of the shirt, and we're gonna pull that tight, and then we're gonna take the needle and we're gonna go back right as close to that hole as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and as we come through, we're gonna turn that shirt over, and we're gonna pull that knot back out. Because what we're gonna do is, just to make it secure, we're gonna spread the two threads by the knot, and we're gonna take that needle and we're gonna go right through that loop. See, here's the loop, here's the knot at the top right here. And I'm simply spreading those two threads, and we're gonna go through that. Similar to a whip knot. We're gonna pull that tight. Now, I'm gonna, just so it makes it easier, I'm gonna cut off this tag here so you can kind of see what's going on. So you find the knot, knot's right here. I'm just gonna come off right above it and clip it because we don't need that. All right, now that I've got that, now I'm gonna pull and get that tight. So you can see that's tight on the back side. And if there's a little bit of tag, it doesn't matter, nobody's gonna see that. And now I'm gonna go back through, not through the knot, but right close to that center. And I'm gonna pull through the front side. All right, now I'm gonna lay it out. I'm I'm going to get my button, and I'm going to do a cross pattern. I'm going to go from the lower right to the upper left twice, and then I'm going to come back through the shirt, and I'm going to go through the upper right to the lower left. So coming through the lower right here, just stick the needle through, and then go up through go down through the upper left. So there's the upper left. I'm just going through it, okay? Now you can drop the button, it doesn't matter, it'll catch on the thread. And now I'm gonna simply hold the shirt and go right as close to that center thread as I can, okay? And then I'm gonna reach back behind and grab that needle and pull it through. And look what happened. Now, from the lower right to the upper left, I have a cross pattern started. I'm simply gonna flip it over and come through that shirt again, okay, from the back side, and I'm gonna find that same hole. You kind of can poke through a little bit, poke through your needle, and then you find that hole and just kind of slide it on the needle and push it through. And then pull it all tight. Now, I'm about almost halfway done. Now I'm gonna come through, and if it tilts, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, just a button. Now you're gonna go through that upper left one, and I'm gonna angle so that my needle, when it goes through the shirt, is going through close to that center of the button. See how it's kind of angled a little bit? And it's coming through right in the center on the back side. So it's coming down. Oh, got around the button there, but that's all right. And I'm gonna pull it tight, grab that needle and pull it through, pull the thread. There you go. See how it's now at an angle? Okay, now I'm simply gonna come through the back side, going through the back side now, and I'm gonna try to find, I'm gonna poke it through, and as I poke it through, I'm gonna find that needle, see how it's poked through there, and I'm gonna simply place the top right corner button on that needle and then come through. Boom. Now I take the needle and I go downward through the lower left corner button, and I'm going to angle back towards the center where all my thread is. So if you do see the thread, it'll hide behind the button, and pull it close to that spot. Okay. You always want to make sure you keep your shirt kind of flat so it doesn't, you don't, clump a pile behind it. Kind of like I'm doing with this. I keep catching on this button here, but you just pull it off. Okay. And then I'm gonna pull it tight. So see how I've made an X in the shirt. Okay, now I just need to come back through this upper right button one more time. Flip it around here. Okay, find my needle, come close to the center as I can, poke it through just a little bit, and if it's not where you kind of want it, pull it back out. Okay, see how it's coming through right where kind of I want it. Now I come through that upper right, shove it through the upper right. Okay, pull it through. Now I'm going to go down again through the lower left and angle it to the center. I'm going to angle that, see how it's angled to the center, and then I'll simply push that through. See how it's coming out the back? I'm going to pull it tight. Now the button is on. It is on the shirt, ready to go. Okay, the only thing left is I'm gonna find just a little bit of thread. Just see how I'm just barely catching that shirt? This is called a whip stitch. Okay, and I'm gonna come through. And you can also catch the thread, or we could have left that tag on, and we could have looped it through that tag twice and tied it. But I just like to catch a little bit of shirt. Okay, start to pull it through, and now it makes, look what it's making here. It's making a loop, or it's kind of like you're whipping it. And then you're simply going to come through just like we did before, and you're going to come through twice. Once, and then you come back through that loop that you made again, and you're going to pull that tight. Okay? And then you're going to simply cut those threads off, and we are done. You have sewed on a button, and it goes super fast. Like I said, if you're going to do the horizontal, it's exactly the same, but when you come through, you're simply going from lower to lower twice, upper to upper twice. And you can alternate. You can go from, like, if let's say you're doing a cross pattern, if you want to be fancy and you want to go from lower right, you want to do the diagonal this way, and then you want to come back and you want to do it this way, and then you want to do it the third time this way and the fourth time this way. You can. It doesn't make that big a difference, but it just kind of depends on what kind of pattern you're looking for. But that is it. That's how you sew on a button. And like I said, most dress shirts at the bottom of the button side, they have spare buttons, so they've got 2 different sizes. So if you ever need one, you just simply come back here and cut that thread, pull that button off, and get some new thread and sew them on. But that's it. That's how you sew a button on. It's a pretty easy skill. And it works the same for pants, works the same for shorts. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.